everyone, and welcome to CSEL Conversations. Today we have a very special guest here with us, Dr. Margaret Sinclair. Dr. Sinclair has a doctorate in biochemistry, but her professional career has since focused on how education can contribute to well-being, particularly in third world countries. After raising a family, she began work in support of refugee education, initially with the United Nations Refugee Agency, where she became head of its education unit. And after retirement, she served as a consultant to UNHCR and UNESCO. She's been actively involved in the establishment of the Interagency Network for Education in Emergencies, INEE, in the year 2000, and later helped to establish the Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attack. These two networks celebrated their 20th and 10th anniversaries respectively in 2020. Since 2017, Dr. Sinclair has worked to create another networking group, NISEM, which was formed after a CIES workshop. NISEM focuses on integrating social and emotional learning and SDG Development Goal 4.7 into education materials. Dr. Sinclair has written several books, including UNESCO publications on education and emergencies, Living Together, and in 2015, she led the development of a set of UNESCO guidance materials on curriculum for safety, resilience, and social cohesion. It is such an honor to have you here with us, Dr. Sinclair.
Well, let me just say that when I became interested in social and emotional learning, I didn't know that term. It's become so well known since the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning got established in 1994. And it happened that in early 1994, I had gone to UNHCR, the Refugee Agency's headquarters, as you said, to work on education. So there was a new policy on refugee children set out just before I arrived. And one of the items there was consider peace education. So I didn't realize then that it was essentially social and emotional learning applied to peace. I asked somebody with experience of long years of experience of education in that sort of area. And I said, is it about nuclear weapons and those things? Because we used to talk about peace education as like getting rid of nuclear weapons and so on. He said, no. I said, that's not suited to refugee children. He said, no, it's about when the neighbor's wastewater comes into the garden of your house, how do you solve that problem? What skills do you have to solve that sort of problem? That's peace education, or education for conflict resolution. So that's how I fell into social and emotional learning, because the actual skills that our consultant developed as a framework after talking a lot with refugees in the area we chose, which was in Kenya, refugee camps. That framework essentially is social and emotional learning skills and their application to living together in peace. So social and emotional learning can have many different names. It's often called life skills. That was used kind of as a polite way of saying education in against contracting HIV/AIDS, sex education essentially, and in a lot of countries that's not possible to include sex education in the curriculum, so they called it life skills, social and emotional learning to protect oneself from unwanted or unsafe or unwanted sex. So I've over the years, I've seen so many different terms for social and emotional learning, but I myself started with peace education.